All right. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Seems like we've had a good little bit of a trepidation and a good little bit of a lot of events happening in the past few days. Actually, this whole week seems to have been pretty eventful. The IGDA chairman, Robert Rosero, blocked and labeled as a harasser by the IGDA's top of the fucking GamerGate block list. Yes, this is the same block list developed by FreeBSOD girl. Removed on Saturday. Kate Edwards tweets, read the disclaimer, the IGDA's tool or list, but tools are imperfect. We've removed it for now. Really, Kate? Are you the reason why hair dryers and curling irons have "do not put in any bodily orifice" written on them? I mean, really, you're using this block list and you have not vetted it. You're basically help make it. The IGDA Ed was still on Twitter Saturday, favoriting tweets that called Gamergate a hate group. Allegations were he did create the block list, or at least those inside the IGDF did. Even if it was not directly in a capacity as an IGDF member, Donna Pryor, according to her own LinkedIn page, she created the IGDA Community Management SIG back in March 2014. So, no, this is another level of stupidity I can't understand. It's past my ability to figure it out. I don't know. Let's see. Does the chat have any questions or any statements on this level of stupidity? So right now, what we're doing, we're gonna have a pretty good show for you guys tonight. We're gonna have Brian Lee of the game Anthropologist, and we're basically going to be talking about the videos made that were like the girl that was harassed walking down the street because she was drunk, and the Kim Kardashian video, and the other video where she was just walking for 10 hours in New York. I really have no idea why the hell you would want to walk for 10 hours in New York, especially in, was she wearing high heels? I'm not sure. I think I actually remember her wearing high heels, and I do not know a woman that would walk for 10 fucking. Now, I might be totally wrong. She might have had some sort of other shoes on, but I do think I remember hearing that click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack that you hear when, women wear high heels. Right now, we're just waiting on the guests that are coming in this afternoon. We're basically, how long what? We have minutes, 20 seconds.
You're going to be a bud, aren't you? Where's my computer?
In here. There you go. Mm-hmm. There's if you need it.
Awesome. Looks like we got Brian here.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'll be right with you.
Okay, man. So, it's all bullshit. That's why. That's a very good reason. Bullshit. That's why. Love that explanation. Okay. So, Schulman, the best place for resources I can tell you to look at is Daddy Warpig's hashtag Remember Claire. It basically has a more in-depth view of everything that has happened to this point that was happening up until yesterday, and I think it was basically just kind of disappeared so far. So, Brian, you with us already? Okay, guess not. Okay. You can also add Daddy Warpig to your Twitter account. Is at Daddy_Warpig, and he's been tweeting about that since yesterday. So, Brian, you with us, man?
I'm here now. Yeah. Do you have a link that you want me to do this for you, so I can spread the word about this?
No. It's posted in low bar. What I actually wanted to talk to you about was your video on viral videos.
Sure.
When you start off on the video, you talk about the Kim Kardashian thing. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that as it may relate to us?
In terms of relating to Gamergate, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
Well, the point I was trying to make with that was that it just, all these kind of incidents coalesced around this certain point. It just got me to thinking about the whole nature of Gamergate, especially the anti-Gamergate side, which, is neither here nor there. But it seems like the rhetoric coming from the anti-Gamergate side is like, using these new terms and using like loaded language, especially in terms of the gaming journalism with clickbait strategies. It seems it's very indicative of viral marketing. It's like, look at this stuff, look at this. And I made a reference, like, in terms of Kim Kardashian showing her ass, it's like par for the course. We know this is very indicative of this personality. That's what she does to get popular, and it seems very indicative of a lot of journalistic personalities as well. Like, you could see Upworthy always does this kind of thing, or, Upworth, Uprocks, those kind of things. Anything has, like, up in it. And, like, any of these kind of clickbait strategies you happen to see, like, look at this will change your life, or this will make you cry, or this will want you to murder a hobo, or whatever the clicks might be, and you see it on Facebook. You'll see people spread it around on Facebook or any kind of social media, and now it's major sites like BuzzFeed pretty much do that all the time. Cracked, I haven't been on Cracked in God knows how long, but I'm pretty sure they still do it, and it's starting to trickle into Gawker Media, of course, which is all about the personality. They had the Gawker Stalker years ago, so this is like par for the course with them as well, and I prioritize it into three categories. Kim Kardashian is the most ultra form of it. It's like, it's written in your face, literally, like, look at me, I want attention. And there's more subtle, like the Hollaback video was more of a, we're trying to raise awareness, but in the way we did it, we actually hurt our cause more than we actually helped it. And I think there are people on the anti-Gamergate side that honestly think that. I did a video called Hanlon's Razor where I honestly think there are people that feel marginalized to a certain extent in gaming culture, and that's not through any fault of anybody necessarily. They might just feel that way, and they honestly think, well, Anita Sarkeesian is being attacked, so I need to, get her back without properly venting her, or properly looking through all of her dialogue and all her research, and they just go, okay, automatically, woman attacked, I got her back. And then there's the other form, which is essentially kind of along the same lines, where it's, they're trying to maybe raise awareness, but in the case of like Steven Zong with his Hollywood and Drunk Girl in Hollywood video, it's all about attention, but strictly to be in this new generation of YouTube videos, I want attention, like PewDiePie screaming into a mic or something like that. Maybe I could have elaborated further in terms of that. That's where I kind of see the line. A lot of those videos I do recently, these opinion pieces I do kind of like in a 10-minute clip, because that's usually all the time I have. So sometimes but the way I do my videos, I like to discuss it afterwards, or even discuss it in the comments section, which is always, as you know, from YouTube, is pretty hit or miss, mostly miss. But yeah. I guess that's what brings us here today, to discuss it a little bit.
Exactly. With the Kim Kardashian video, you can see some of these videos. They're actually not. There's really not a whole. But we do see them in different forms, like Anita Sarkeesian's videos. We do see a lot of Lacey Green has her own thing, although a lot of her videos don't go exactly viral. But she does have a lot of followers.
Indeed,
and it's basically just of everything. What is she going to say now? How should I feel today? Do you see anything else working like the Kim Kardashian videos, or do you think that we're becoming more desensitized to that? And as far as a movement, like we just don't care anymore.
We mean desensitize as a movement. You mean just as people that are pro Gamergate are seeing a Lacey Green or Anita Sarkeesian talking about toxic masculinity or whatever, and that we just like, oh, okay, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, basically in the form of the do you see them trying to use more of the shock tactic?
Oh yeah, I definitely
to that
see.
to care.
I definitely see those particular examples as definitely. I mean, this in terms of people that make YouTube videos, this has been going on for a long time. It's like with screenshots of I forget Ray William Johnson and his ilk and those people. What's that guy's name? I can't. Sexy Phil, I think was the guy's name, and just people in general like will use photos and then like usually current events. They usually like to blog about that. They do video blogs. Anything that's in the media right now. They'll probably have like loads of Ferguson videos, and maybe they'll show like people getting shot in the screenshot for the video, and people are going to click on that. That's a version of clickbait as well. And I guess this is like I was trying to make the connection. This is kind of a byproduct. It seems they're using this strategy, especially in Anita's case, because we have proof that she did this Telestar thing, and this is something that's kind of encouraged through that Telestar marketing. It's a version of marketing. So we know that she's definitely getting that. Like, for example, after the Utah State thing and then the shooting in Washington, she said, well, this is a result of toxic masculinity. She had to have known that that was going to get a major pushback. There's no way you could say that and just throw it out there and just like toss a little hand grenade and expect it to just blow up in one little corner. That was going to make so many people upset. And I have a feeling that she knew that. I can't ultimately know what she's thinking in her head, but I can gauge just based on her track record, based on her background. I can gauge that. Okay. So I'd say to answer your question in short form.
Okay, so you're saying that she deliberately disregard responsibility to her freedom of speech, and such as that she knew, like you said, you knew what was going to happen and desired that outcome.
You broke up just a little bit. I heard something about her desire of freedom of speech. Can you say that again?
Basically, you're saying that this was her desired outcome. She wanted to be basically oppressed in just the shortest words possible.
Well, I mean, it's easy to just say that she wanted to be oppressed. Based on me reading her master's thesis, I could gauge that she probably believes most of this stuff, but I think she's trying to garner the most attention. And by latching yourself onto an issue that you're not really discussing or haven't really focused on, like school shootings in America, and then linking it to, as she linked to in her master's thesis. In her master's thesis, she starts off with essentially the patriarchy controls everything, and here's why in media the patriarchy rules. That'd be like me starting a master's thesis about like American history. That's my background, and saying, well, the reptilians control all American history, and here's how. It's like you're starting off with a very flawed premise, and that's kind of her whole spiel is all about a flawed premise. And so if you latch on to your already flawed premise and try to bring in like school shootings, you're trying to draw attention to it. And the ultimate motivation, I honestly don't know, but I can speculate, which is what I did in the video. I speculate that she's trying to garner as much attention as she can onto herself. And what, you know, is the final outcome, to ingratiate herself amongst the community or to make money? I honestly don't know what the end game might be.
Okay. The one of your statements in the video and here is that what the question is that why are you should feel outraged? Why should you feel outraged?
Yeah, that's the question in this viral marketing atmosphere. It's not that, you know, why. It's not this is what you feel should outrage about. It's like, why aren't you feeling outrage about this? It's like when you say, like the uproar, they all use that because that's a very good example. It's because I see it on Facebook or wherever all the time. I see random people in my family who aren't media savvy. I mean, not to say that I am either, but they'll say like, look at this this 8-year-old will make you cry, and then it's giving you. Someone actually pointed out to me in the comment section. I use the phrase begging the question, and it says no, it's more like asking a question. There's a logical fallacy called begging the question, but I think it can go both ways. But it begs the question, and you know, for lack of how you say it properly. But it begs the question: why aren't you feeling sad about this 8-year-old? If you click on this and you don't feel sad, it means there's something wrong with you. Like, why aren't you feeling this emotion that we're already dictating to you in this title? And that's the kind of thing. Or if you show like a naked picture of Kim Kardashian, and it's like it's going to elicit anger from probably most people. Like, oh, how could she show her ass? And then you can, branch it off into like the E! News channel and all the crazy U.S. News, Us Weekly or whatever that
Okay, so you're saying before I forget this,
that's fine.
That instead of doing what a news article should and telling you something and then letting you feel a certain way about it at the end, it's implying what you should feel before you ever start reading.
Oh yeah, essentially, or even it'll come to the conclusion at the end. They use that. You've probably heard it a million times. The Columbia School of Broadcasting. It's like, and this story is beginning to coalesce a little bit. It's like a pentameter almost, coming to it, and it's that mixed in with, we're going to tell you it's the we report, you decide kind of view of journalism, which Fox News, pioneered many years ago, and now it seems to filter into every news outlet, and whether that's good or not is debatable, but I personally don't think it's good, and it just seems like it's reflecting not on gaming journalism, but journalism as a whole as well.
How effective do you think in the long run that viral video marketing can be? I mean, does it, as far as Gamergate goes, you have, we've already seen some videos by noted feminists, but when I say some, you know who I'm talking about, obviously Sarkeesian.
Yes.
But how effective do you think that can be in a long-run situation? We've already proven that Gamergate is not a short-term burst of anger.
Oh, most certainly. This is the month 3, by the way. Obviously,
right.
August 28th was the never forget day, I guess. Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of the answer, sorry. Continue.
Yeah. When you're using a short-term tactic like these clickbait articles, the thing about clickbait articles is that they never have the same effect twice. You never read another one, or you never read the same one and get just as pissed off as you did the first time. So when you're using the same tactic in these videos, there comes a certain level of familiarity with it. So I don't, me personally, I don't see how the logic could exist where they think that it can keep going in such a fashion. They can't use it. If you're looking at, oh shit, what's his name? Alinsky. If you're looking at the Alinsky rules of engagement for radicals, he basically says don't use the same shit twice. Which, if you look at what they do, they're using Alinsky's rules. At least from what I've seen. I might just be drawing a false conclusion here, but
oh no, I think you're on the right track in a way. To answer your question, like, viral marketing can only take you so much. You've already answered most of it by saying, you can't use the same trick twice. I mean, they tweak it a little bit. I mean, in terms of if it in the long game, I've stated, and it's my opinion in the Gamergate movement. I'm no voice. I'm just one of the many. I don't claim to speak for anybody, but in my personal opinion, I think these people can only cause a lot of cuts, but they'll never ever really change gaming culture, because right now the AAA devs essentially run everything. It's a corporate game. They're making billions upon billions of dollars more than the movie, TV, and book industry. They can cause change on a local level. They can totally screw over small-time, independent developers. That's where their real power lies right now, especially with the indie game IGDA, that scandal that's still breaking. I've also criticized, like, Gamergate should really start focusing on them again, but that's started to happen again. But in the long run, they can't make changes this way. This is like a shotgun approach, viral marketing. You can hit a lot of targets at once, but then if you keep trying to do it, the target moves away a little bit, and the pellets, can't cause as much damage if you're 50, 100 yards away. It doesn't matter.
Do you possibly think, I mean, this is just speculation, do you think this might be more political than it is philosophical in the way that I've heard a lot of people say that Gamergates is a political type thing? Yeah. I disagree. I say that it is a philosophical thing. Because go ahead.
I was just saying, I agree with you. I was just going to say. Sorry.
The reason why it is philosophical is because it does not have real political implications.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It lacks real political implications. Now, anti-Gamergate does actually have some political implications if they succeed,
Mm-hmm.
namely because they've achieved their certain goals of changing the life of the way their end result changes the lives of everybody. Our end result changes the lives of gamers, or keeps the lives of gamers the same.
Mm-hmm.
Have been something to do, and this is a little bit tinfoily hat. Forgive me for this.
Oh,
Do
that's
you
fine.
do you think this might have just possibly been something more engineered by politics? Because they came to us, we didn't go to them.
I guess it really depends. I mean, I've seen a lot of people on the pro Gamergate side try to make it like a left versus right thing, and that's why I made a video as such. I am a left-leaning person. I actually consider myself a feminist in most respects, but like I said, when you start putting labels on things, you start losing the real. You information trickles down, and you don't get everything. If you try to easily, corner someone, oh, you're this, is obviously you think this and that, and then you have to, come out of that corner and explain, well, no, I might feel this way, but this and that, and then no, you're this way. It's easy to pigeonhole people that way.
Mm-hmm.
I find gamers are more of an open-minded, and the reason why I think the anti-Gamergate side, or the social justice warrior, or the authoritarian or authoritative left, or however you want to exactly give terms to this, I don't think they'll ever win, because gaming culture is already incredibly inclusive. It doesn't matter. I think Thunderfoot was one of the people that said many yonks ago that the only real difference in gaming culture in terms of who gets more privilege is usually people that are better at games, and they get put on a pedestal. But ultimately, gaming is a great equalizer. That's why they'll never win. So in terms of making it a political thing, I mean, I play games with crazy libertarians and left-wing hippy-dippy, Trader Joe kind of people. It's just, you can't have it that way. If you start that way, even if you're on Pro Gamergate and start trying to make this all about it being a left-right conservative, democratic, or whatever, it's going to lose in the end. I don't think they have an agenda as a left-wing thing. I think they're just stupid, honestly.
Maybe I kind of misphrased it wrong.
Oh, no, you didn't misphrase it. I understand what you meant.
What I really had meant was, when you're talking about feminist, left-leaning, uber, like, damn near nuts in the head type political party.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about necessarily just, left versus right. We're talking like so far left you're going right again. Those types of people trying to butt their way into a political movement.
I see.
From what it looks like, and to me, Anita Sarkeesian never had really any interest in the gaming community other than the fact of a jumping off point to something else. Because we all know that she kind of like jumped off into the guns area, right? In a way.
Mm-hmm.
We still don't know what she's going to do with that. But it just kind of looks to me that she's positioning for like a point of like political stance. Almost. I mean, if that's the way that I was going to do it, I mean, it looks like a pretty damn good way to do it.
Oh, I would say, yeah. I mean, if she's trying to jostle for position in the authoritative left, and she's done a fine job, because she gets invited to conferences, she gets to, host her Listen and Believe tour, and, to play to this element that's growing within, I guess, the more lefty side of things. I mean, it seems that she's definitely jostled for position and gotten that. I mean, and if that position requires her to go outside of it and say, yeah, and these guns, all these gun deaths are a result of the same problem that I'm dealing with in pop culture, then yeah, that'll definitely increase her status amongst that community, that very slim community of left-leaning people.
Right. Let's go to the hollaback videos.
Sure.
What have you found out about the what was his name? The guy who actually did the hollaback videos? Something media.
His name is Steven Zong. Oh no, I'm sorry. Rob Bliss Creative is what he's been known to do. Yeah, he's kind of a. It's not a big thing like that he does. He's been known to do a lot of viral marketing. And for instance, actually, let me pull up the list that I had here earlier. I had to check that out again. He did a TEDx talk that I actually watched. I was going to include in the video, but it was going to make the video kind of long. He did a TEDx talk about how, and it was kind of very similar to what Kevin Oloka had mentioned about how, and he's a big wig at YouTube. He did a TEDx talk and it is kind of a very mirror image, like how videos become viral and how it's choosing, showing you how to participate. Like Rob Bliss he did the homeless veteran time-lapse transformation. I remember that one. That was a very famous one too. And let's see.
I remember that
Pure
one.
Michigan, yeah, the Pure Michigan video and the 500-foot water slide in San Francisco, like little things like that. He's very well known of getting attention. Now Hollaback I think might be his biggest one now because of just the controversy surrounding it. In terms of, oh, I'm sorry, what was the question about that? You were just asking about Rob Bliss?
it was just kind of like getting us on the subject over there on the Hollaback videos. What, in the end, what do you think he's trying to create controversy for? I mean, his own motivations. Have you found out anything about that?
Oh, his motivation, he's just a hired gun. Ostensibly, that's what he is. I mean, he was told, like, Hollaback said, this is our message we want to get out. Who can best facilitate that? Rob Bliss Creative is known for doing, like, the time-lapse homeless veteran video. We could get a lot of attention if we hire him. And I don't think he's neither here nor there. He might be. I honestly don't know. I haven't seen any indication that would seem that he's a social justice warrior, quote unquote, or anything like that, or any kind of label. I think he was told, "We'll pay you money for this. Please help us get a lot of attention." Okay, He was actually in the video. He was the man in the backpack that had the camera. He walked in front of the girl the whole time, so he was actually a part of it. I don't know how hands-on. I guess maybe he's more hands-on with a lot of his videos, in that sense. But I don't think he has a real agenda. I think it was all about just, he was a hired gun. He was paid to do it.
Okay. You also talked about how it was, even if you were to say, take for example, if the video had have been done for real, what would it be evidence of?
Well, if it had been a real research thing, I've been in academia for a while. I know how research is carried out. It's not sexy. It could be, I guess, if that's your kink, but it's not like the craziest thing. It's not sexy. It's not like, impactful. It's not always the Milgram study where it's like a gotcha moment where the guy's shocking him and that's the point where we're all Nazis, which is basically the end result of that. It's usually, a lot of, trial and error, trying to, find the human error element. And, it's not condensing it down to a 3-minute video of 10 hours of footage to show that. I mean, it would show the whole 10 hours. It would be boring if they really wanted to do that, but they wanted to make an impact, and that's fine. That was what they wanted to do. But if they go about saying, well, this proves that women in New York are completely helpless, and also, this is what happens. They're completely, have no choice, have to face all this people catcalling. Couldn't think of the word for a second. Then yeah, they're being dishonest in that respect, and especially cutting out any people that aren't black or Hispanic when they clearly went through black and Hispanic neighborhoods in the greater New York area. That's a bit of an issue, and that's what.
Yeah, I would hate to think that she paced back and forth for 10 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I mean but sometimes that could even be it. You could have a control. Maybe the control was if you're saying there's I would have gone, if I was doing it from a research study, I would have said maybe in lower income neighborhoods versus upper income neighborhoods, you could check and see the disparity there in between getting catcalled, because a lot of people, there's a lot of factors I don't really need to go into, but you can make a research thing from there and say, okay, in the upper class neighborhood I wasn't catcalled, lower class, here's some thoughts. But then if they said, okay, I did the upper class and lower class, and clearly this shows that poor people are assholes, then yeah. Oh, sorry, I don't know if I can curse on there, but poor people are just. Oh, sorry, I forgot. We can do it.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I was just saying. I mean, if they said that, then that would be a problem too.
Well, one of the things you also have to do is the catcalling in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do research on is the average opinion of the average woman. You'd still need to get a baseline for the average woman, but still.
Yeah, exactly. It's very difficult. You're right.
Would you be able to consider catcalling a sexist thing, or is it? Because me personally, I never did catcalling, but then again, I've thought of it kind of like in low tact anyway. But that's not because I think it's sexist. It's just because it's something they did in the 50s, and wow, that's like really whoa back there, man. And back then, that was considered a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
At least in many circles, it was considered a compliment, and women would like blush and do whatever. But you'd have to first say conclusively that catcalling is sexist with some sort of study. But I'm trying to remember, was catcalling no, they actually had one guy that was following her for like, what, 5 minutes?
She had two guys actually following her for that. That's just beyond creepy, and that's something I'm glad they showed, because that's probably something New Yorkers, New York women sometimes have to deal with. That's fine to show that, but that's like borderline, getting sexual assault territory. I can understand that, but just it's like you said. I mean, what do we classify as a catcall? Is saying hello or good morning a catcall? I mean, saying hey baby, look at that ass, that's more of a catcall, and that's where you have to really. It's a lot of hard work. You can't. And viral marketing in this sense won't show you the hard work. It'll just show you, oh, it's meant to elicit a reaction, and the reaction was elicited, definitely.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
With some of these guys, she actually didn't say anything, if I remember right.
Yeah, she was silent. Mm-hmm.
She was silent. So, we all know that the feminist idea is that silence is not acceptance or some shit like that. But with some people, and this has been beat to death, so I'm going to just go ahead and do it again. Some people actually do need a vocal response from you that says, no, I'm not interested in talking to you.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Now, there would be a difference if she had done one guy that way and then done the other guy silent to show the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if she had been continually like trying to, oh, hey, but you don't feel that way, man, come on, man, it's me. What, you don't like me? That would be sexual harassment. Leave me the fuck alone. Other people, on the other hand, need that kind of reaction. And I've never been to New York, but I've met people who have been, and they said you really have to be kind of upfront and vocal with these people, or some people.
Mm-hmm. Definitely,
yeah. So that kind of covers the way that the video was intellectually dishonest.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was other ways. Go ahead.
I would say they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. With I think the woman not speaking was part of this is an experiment, so she's not going to speak and elicit a reaction from them. We're going to just have her walk by and let them react to that, because I wouldn't. That's like them trying to, they're covering their ass. I can tell you, as someone who lived in South Philly for a time, and I live outside of Philadelphia now, but I was in really bad parts of Philly, and I had people catcall me, and I'm a cis white male, I guess, whatever cis means, but I'm a white male, kind of skinny, it sometimes comes with the nature of living in the city. It's like you said, if you spoke to a typical woman, first of all, you got to find out what is a typical woman. You have to actually have that written down, and then you get debate about that. But you speak to a woman that's either from the country or maybe the country from the suburbs in the city, and then you get different reactions as well. That's them. That's how intellectually dishonest it is. They came into it trying to get attention, and they're trying to have their cake and eat it too by having her silent. That's the research aspect, and then condensing it down again to 3.5 minutes, however long it was, of the 10-hour footage, and cutting out because it just wasn't loud enough. The white guys that were saying anything. I honestly don't know. You can draw conclusions saying that they were trying to make all black and Hispanic people look bad. I don't think that's the case, but I think that somebody can draw that conclusion. I'm sure some right-wing website probably did something like that. I wouldn't be surprised. It really depends. It really depends.
They also had in the video some guys just saying, "Hi, how you doing? Have a good day."
Exactly. Yeah. You have to classify, like you said, is that catcalling? I personally don't think it is. Well, my anecdotal stories can tell you that in the city that just happens, living in the city. That's anecdotal.
I'm from the South, so when someone says,
my brother, don't worry about that.
Have a good day, exactly what they mean is, hey, how you doing? That's just the culture around here, at least for the most part. You go to Dallas and things get a little weird, but
yeah, I'm from Memphis. I had plenty of catcalls in Memphis when I worked in downtown Memphis as well. It's the nature of living. I can't tell you what catcalling was from. From basic my anecdotal experiences, I could tell you it has socioeconomic, consequences, and also possibly professions. Construction workers generally do it. They do it to men and women. It's a weird thing. I can't really explain it. It might be a Western Hemisphere thing. You don't know. You can't just draw a conclusion like clearly women are being catcalled by men. Most of the men in New York are pigs and hate women. You can't just. That's what the whole video was attempting to shed light on. That's what people drew the conclusion of, and that's unfortunate. Are you kidding?
The other video, the drunk girl video.
Oh yeah.
I had some particular issues with that. That was, in my opinion, that was just a slap in the face to academia for the most part.
Oh yeah, totally.
It was done very much in the same way as the Hollaback video was, but doing it with a drunk girl. Now, we all know that they were paid. These actors were paid, and they got pissed off because they were portrayed in this light, and they were thinking that they were taking part of a student film or a comedy skit or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they got portrayed as a statistic.
Exactly.
They got portrayed as a academic type experiment, and that is, if that's not defamation, I don't know exactly what is, and I might not know what it is, but that just seems like, hey man, can you help me out? Okay, now I'm going to sue you, or yeah, now I'm going to slap you in the face because you're helping me out. What more did you find out about this video, other than the fact that it was a blatant ripoff of the previous video we're talking about?
Well, I mean, a lot of the information about Stephen Zong is he wiped himself pretty clean after that incident. I haven't really seen a whole lot in terms of follow-up. The Smoking Gun did a great takedown of that. You can always find the link for that in terms of what's going on. It seems like, on top of trying to get the Hollaback exposure because this all happened around the same time, there's also a lot of instances, and there's a horrible thing kind of going on college campuses. There's always been, and I've been to college, so I can anecdotally tell you too, there's always been instances of sexual assault that have either been covered up or not reported, and a lot of these are coming to light now. University of Virginia comes to mind. They just banned fraternities only for the winter break because there was a gang rape that was, that went unpunished for a while. So it's kind of preying on that as well. Like, there's these stories that are going on that this drunk girl passed out, was gang raped, and she remembers, and nobody, takes her seriously because it seemed, like she was drunk and had it coming. And that's what they were trying to elicit with this. Oh, this is a drunk girl. Oh, look at her. She's, not taking care of herself. She's just going to go home and get, violated by this man. And it's like a whole mixture of things. This Stephen Zong, if I had to guess, he's trying to harp on the Hollaback video. He's trying to, situate himself up like Rob Bliss, trying to make himself like the next, I'm going to make viral videos and bring attention to a cause. But I don't think that he has any interest at all in a cause. I think he, too, is like a hired gun. I think he's just trying to get attention. He's only 20 years old. I mean, I can tell you as a former 20-year-old, we don't know shit about anything when we're 20. You can think you do, but you really don't. And that's why I think he was trying to just basically do it for exposure and to fatten his portfolio, to show to people out in L.A. eventually, like, this is what I did, and look how many hits it got on YouTube.
Okay. The video itself, it seemed to me also that it was tongue-in-cheek in a way, saying that it's okay to be shit out, fucking 3 sheets to the wind in public, and it's okay. Nothing's going to happen to you. That's the thing. I've got a big issue with responsibility. And that's one of the things of responsibility that goes along with just being a person, being a fucking human. You don't get that drunk and just say, okay, it's okay to go out and have like motherfuckers. Stop talking to me, goddammit. You just don't do that.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely about responsibility, but it's also, there's another dynamic being female, that there are things as a male that I can never really understand. I can maybe visualize something like being violated sexually, but honestly, as a drunk woman, that's more likely, especially if you're drunk and some guy's taking you home. That's more likely going to happen. I can understand they're preying on that. notion. They're showing responsibility, but they're also kind of saying like, oh, look at this. Even though it was fake, it was also showing like here are the kind of guys. Like most guys are also, out there. They see a drunk girl, it's like a mountain lion looking for prey. Very similar.
When it's fake, they also have no idea what the real thing looks like.
Precisely, yeah. It's never that It's never that exaggerated. I have a brown bag in it in Hollywood Boulevard. It's usually like someone falling asleep at a party, and it's like, oh, it's okay. I'll take her upstairs and all that. And
well, it's also
more subtle.
It's also the guy. If you're going to be one of those creepy dudes that wants to prey on the already drunk girl that you've never talked to, and that I'll get to that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine for a second it's a stranger, and they're just preying on the copiously drunk girl. Oh, let me take you up to my room. Let me take you back to my house. Let me take you back to my apartment. It never looks that blatant. It never really looks that blatant. It might come after 20 minutes or 30 minutes of talk. But there are guys who would get wrapped up in that. If all guys were that way, then you'd have a lot of good guys get wrapped up in that too. You'd have a lot of good guys saying, let me take you back to your, hotel room. And then she wakes up and says, oh, my panties were halfway off. It's like, well, bitch, you were like really shit drunk last night. I don't know how your panties got off.
Mm-hmm. I mean, those problems happen too. Sorry, I was saying I agree.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just, I was kind of tepidly agreeing with you. Yeah,
right.
Sorry.
The other thing is that, much like with child predators, the most likely person to rape a woman, drunk or sober or whatever, is actually somebody that she knows. Maybe not necessarily knows really, really well, but most likely she knows them. And when you're talking about stranger danger of this type, you are either on purpose or accidentally, either way you're a moron, looking away from what the real dangers are. And I think that when you do this, you are going against everything that this type of feminism claims that it wants to go against.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I was going to agree with you. Yeah, again, I think it's showing people that, oh, look at this. I mean, these skeezy guys, and it's looking through the forest through the trees. I agree. It's a very good point that you're making. And it's the forest through the trees. They're not seeing the bigger picture that there's this guy that could potentially be. It's probably even a guy that that maybe you've known for a long time, and it's just he had this inside him this whole time. And stranger danger, I've never subscribed to that, to be honest with you. I grew up in a time when that really started to take effect, and we used to play outside, and obviously if anybody called you up or anything like that, like you would avoid them. Don't go looking for a puppy, or don't go looking for candy or something like that. But now it's made people a lot angrier towards one another. Like we're so skeptical of people nowadays. That's why that what's that show on ABC? I can't think of it. Watch What Happens Next. That's why that show exists, pretty much because of people who have a healthy skepticism of other people, which is fine, but it's like not to the point where you think they're potential enemies or potential rapists around every corner. And that's what that video really preys on as well. You're absolutely right in that respect, yeah.
Edwin in the chat makes a very good point. Now, like it kind of sums up everything. There's a disconnect with reality and measurable data.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Mm-hmm.
I think that really just kind of sums up all of these videos in one big shot. And if you're talking about the Kim Kardashian video, you can make a pun out of that all damn day. But
definitely.
The things that have happened this week, have you looked into any of it, or have you been like too busy?
Well, it really depends. If you give me, obviously it's a holiday week, but I've had actually a few extra days off because I'm a teacher, and I had Monday, and then I basically had the rest of the week off. But is there a specific example that I can maybe give you?
I actually have a list that when I don't have a special guest, I usually go through to just kind of talk about the things that happened this week.
That's cool. Go ahead.
The biggest one was like Saturday, and when the IGDA chairman was it Puerto Rico, Robert Rosero.
Oh yeah,
was blocked and labeled a harasser by the IGDA's top of the line block list, the same one developed by BSOD girl.
Yeah.
What did you? if they make a mistake, they just can't do anything about it, can they? They just have to like, oh well, fuck that, we're done. Hey, sorry about your luck, dude.
Yeah,
I
I mean
mean, really,
that's the best they can do. I mean they made their bed, now they have to lie in it. It's completely it's really kind of shocking. I remember I did happen to see that. I was like this previous weekend. I was like kind of late at night. I remember seeing that. I didn't think it was correct. I was like, is this really happening? I'm like, yeah, they really did that. That's wow. Shit on them. I mean, it's they can't win for even trying. I mean, that's their idea is excluding, and if that person seems to be going against whatever their crazy, very narrow mindset is, they're willing to exclude that. And that's the difference between us and I hate to use this term because it sounds like I'm a dick, but between us and real heart and soul gaming culture lovers, because we don't exclude anyone. Everybody's included. There might be 12-year-olds on Call of Duty that call you a faggot, but that doesn't mean that the vast majority of people are anti-gay or anything like that, or anti-transgender or cis white males or whatever they like to say. It's just he's a 12-year-old shithead that doesn't know any better, and he will eventually. It's just
right.
the gaming culture. If you actually I go to MagFest a lot. If you go there, they have some problems, and they actually had there's the old expression is cosplay is not consent, and I actually subscribe to that. A lot of and some weirdo dorks that go to those kind of things don't, and they'll go like, I'm gonna grab your tits, but they correct that right away. It's like, bang, you're out of here. It's not 80 dudes coming around wanting to grab tits. It's maybe one or two drunken, weeaboo nerds that want to do it, and we expel those people because that's not cool. I guess that's exclusion, but that's exclusion because they forced our hand. But we include everybody. You could be a weeaboo nerd as long as you're not touching women and being a real jerk.
The thing is that we've got a pre-standing set of morals or standards.
Exactly.
And if you exclude those people who violate those standards first, then you're not being exclusive to anybody.
Precisely.
You're telling them this is how you need to act, or this is the type of behavior we're going to expect from you in order to be accepted here. Mm-hmm. Randy Harper, the list was actually taken as actually being known harassers of women, and that's one of the big things about it. It's not like it's just an anti-Gamergate list. They labeled that list as a known. You say known, it's like it's been proven.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like
that's her whole game.
That's the whole point, is that you can say these are Gamergate, folks, and you can avoid them. Mm-hmm. That would have been fine. But to say that they were also criminals is also another thing that what makes it worse. And when they've got their own guy in there who is a known harasser of women, who's part of the IGDA, it's like, okay, tell me what women he harassed. Oh, you were this dude that makes you a harasser of women. And last time I checked, it required an active effort to be a harasser. There's no passive harassment. I mean, I guess if I thought about it really hard, I could think of a case, but on average, you really have to be proactive to harass somebody.
Well, it makes sense. So the IGDA is, like I've said, is what we need to really be focused on, the indie game scene, especially because I know somebody that's very close to the indie scene, and a couple other guys that have told me stories of what award shows that are just like a joke. It's like a very early high school popularity contest, and it's very weird kind of incestuous relationship these people have, not in terms that they're having sex with each other, in terms it's just it's nepotism and just, oh, I know this guy, so I'm going to give him an award, those kind of things. I think it was Ernest W. Adams, I think that's the guy's name, the IGDA founder. He was saying a lot of crap about Gamergate, and he's trying, they're using terms like criminal conspiracy. It's like when Brianna Wu used, we're using it's literal war. It's getting back to viral marketing. It's like they're using those kind of buzz terms, and Randy Harper is just another cog in that crappy viral marketing spindle that they're trying to do. It's like, oh, I'm defending people. I'm now the arbiter of the block list. I'm doing this. I'm trying to get these known criminals. Mundane Matt, he's a known abuser of women. He could be a pig rapist. He never said he wasn't, so maybe he is. That kind of shit. It's clearly just trying to get attention and trying to up the ante. They're trying to make people attack them. It's kind of like the old, I believe the old thing they said about Anita Sarkeesian, how she kind of goaded 4chan into attacking her. It's very similar. That's kind of got me going about this. I kind of subscribe to that belief that she sort of did, and I think that's the what they're all doing now to try to garner attention for themselves and try to up their status, as you said earlier. They're trying to make themselves ingratiate themselves in this very slither, small, authoritative left movement.
Right. Well, they removed the link on Saturday. It might have been Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But Kate Edwards tweets, "Read the disclaimer, not the IGDA's tool or list." She's later crucified by feminists for objecting feminists-made software. Sorry, had to add that in on my own.
That's good, though.
So they removed it. Okay, great for them. The whole... I'm trying to remember where I've heard Kate Edwards before, instead of not just the IGDA. It might have been something else. She says, like I said, it's... like people, tools are imperfect, and we've removed it for now. Okay. You didn't think about this beforehand. You didn't think there was no alpha testing for this shit? I mean, there was nobody stayed around and said, "Hey, this is getting people in it that that really don't need to be." KFC, I'm looking at you. I'm pretty sure that Pabst Blue Ribbon is going to be in there pretty quickly.
God knows, yeah. Wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. They followed me, so.
But it's the thing, they, like in terms of this block list, it's very similar to what, again, getting back to Thunderfoot, I remember he had a video, I think it might have been a year ago, where it was called Teach Men Not to Rape. It was this weird segment that was on the United Kingdom News Network, I forget which one, and they talked about the Twitter block list. And how essentially it runs very similar to what they're trying to do with their anti-Gamergate block list. And it's all about, like, just say that this guy is this, and we'll put him on a list, and that's it. So they obviously, something happened, something came up the pipeline that the IGDA Puerto Rico guy, I don't know, either followed somebody close to Gamergate because he maybe wanted to know more about the issue or whatever it was. Did they ever say what the catalyst was? Did they ever make any mention about that?
No, I'm guessing what it was is just like anybody who's logical minded that you want to hear both sides of the argument. You're going to follow both sides of the argument. If you're a very political person, it's not uncommon for, like, say, I don't know, a conservative to follow a liberal and a libertarian, or
exactly,
vice versa, as before you have to hear it third person. So in that way, I mean, yeah, I could see how he got caught up in this net, because this net is really not that sophisticated.
Exactly,
it's really not. That's why I call her BSOD girl. I mean, she's she really just is not. Razero, who is the guy that we're talking about, made a statement about how it would be best to make some sort of block list or do harassment. I did have that link. I don't have it anymore. But you can probably look it up on Google and find what his opinions were. It was I believe it was a WordPress.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me. That's why you think like KFC or PBR is going to be on said list eventually too, because they had the misfortune of following somebody. Like I think, Pizza Hut or whoever else, any other kind of random thing, or like if you ever tweet about Star Wars follows you up. Star Wars is on the block list now too. Did you know this? And it's dumb. It's completely dumb, like you said. That's what we're getting to, how stupid this is. And to have any block list, that's the other thing about this. They're trying to claim anti-Gamergate a lot of times, except for the most fervent, crazy people on there, and you can tell who they are. I don't need to list them. You can probably think of 4 people at the top of your head. Those people don't want to discuss, but they keep saying, we want to discuss this with these, Gamergate people. Let's discuss it. Well, we're in month 3 now. Maybe they still want to discuss, but from the very beginning, they never wanted that. That's how Gamers Are Dead, the articles came out. That's this whole point. They never wanted a discussion. It's the idea of discussion.
We tried discussion. That was the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
We've already tried discussion, and it turned out horrible. What it turns into when you're debating a social justice warrior of a certain type is listen and believe. Do you even know what listen and believe means? Yeah, I've got a pretty good idea. Tell me what it means, and then you're expected to give them a definition. And even if you're right, it's wrong. And they're going to repeat exactly what you just said in different words.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
Furthermore, what they're going to do is tell you everything that your movement needs, that Gamergate needs to do, in order to be taken seriously by whoever they deem important. And what that turns into is you just doing exactly what we want you to do. There is no like, we're going to listen to you state. Oh, we've already listened to you. No, you haven't, because you have no idea.
Well, they have the notion of sacred cows too. It's like Anita's our sacred cow, and Brianna Wu is, and Zoe Quinn, whoever is their sacred cow at the moment. I mean, Gamergate has no sacred cows. Oliver Campbell speaks for me, as well as Boner Jams 2003 Triple X. Can speak for me on Twitter, depending as long as he's not harassing or being a dickhead.
Right.
For the most part, I could say he speaks from me for the most part.
I like
it's no sacred cows.
I like certain people, but nobody speaks for me.
Yeah.
There was another idea. Go ahead, man.
Oh, I was just saying. I didn't mean speaks for me in a sense. I mean,
right.
They're not like the ultimate arbiter of truth of Gamergate, I should say. Yeah, that's why I'm getting that.
Yeah, no, I wasn't being a dick or anything. I was just saying.
Oh no, I just wanted to clarify because you're right. I misspoke. So I was just saying.
Well, there was some news going around, or at least an idea going around about boycotting certain devs.
Oh boy, yeah.
And I'm gonna say I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I totally and wholeheartedly disagree, and the reason why is because it could put us in bad favor with a lot of the devs that are with us already. Mm-hmm. Furthermore, I think that you shouldn't do that kind of overkill when something just as easy could be done. I believe in a delay buy, like say for Christmas. You don't have to buy everything that you want at Christmas time. You can wait. And the thing is that those businesses, those developers, not developers, but publishers, they love to see that Christmas bonus. They love to see that Christmas spike.
Mm-hmm.
You take that away, and things start to change. And then you can buy later. And then you still support the devs, and you get your game, and that's all I'm going to say on that shit.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Last thing I'm going to get to is the Claire Schulman issue. Did you ever hear about that?
I haven't heard about that, but real quick before you move on, the game developer boycott, that was a total feint. That was a made-up thing. No one
was it?
Yeah, no one on Gamergate actually did that. There might have been some grumblings, but it seems like it was a feint by some. You can't say exactly it was an anti-Gamergate person, but it was never gained traction. There was a scuttlebutt about it. But essentially, it was all somebody either made it up or just tried to get people on board with this when it was totally the wrong strategy, and everybody knew it. I got on that kind of late. Like I remember, I came home one night from work, and I was like, "Who the hell is calling for a boycott of AAA devs? This seems like this is not what Gamergate's about. The AAA devs, for the most part, haven't really. I mean, they have their usual shenanigans, but they haven't really been a part of this. It's mostly the indie game scene and the gaming journalism scene. It has nothing to do with them. That's why I was a little surprised by that. And someone informed me that it might have been a feint by somebody in anti-Gamergate.
That wouldn't surprise me because a lot of the anti-Gamergate people are all, one of their big complaints about Gamergate is like, you don't care anything about the AAA developers. You're just, it's like you're not fighting them. You should be fighting them.
Mm-hmm.
And we're fighting against corruption in journalism.
Yeah, I mean, there's corruption in journalism. I'm of the mind that Gamergate, kind of began at Mass Effect 3, the ending. I know a lot of people have made that connection too. I made a video a long time back about this one guy. He was, I forget. I mean, IGN practically gave Mass Effect 3 a tongue bath. But this other guy, people were complaining about the Mass Effect 3 ending, and he made this very condescending, who are you to, to want a good ending to your thing? I mean, what about all these people that worked on the game? It was just really dickish. So I did a video basically mocking him in a very similar fashion, using the same stupid Dutch angles and quick cuts, and he's like walking outside, and I'm inside, and like I was telling him, well, maybe people are kind of fed up of, that's another issue altogether. But I think it eventually will come together where we go out to the AAA devs after this. But right now, the here and now, these are the people. They have the most influence in indie game scene, and amongst a a lot of people in gaming journalism right now. That's the real problem. The collusion is leading to corrosion in gaming culture.
Right. I was saying Claire Schulman. This girl that was basically bullied off Twitter. This entirely original insult came from, BSOD girl. You knew exactly what you were doing. You made your Gamergate bed, now get fucked in it. She realizes this is a rape threat, right?
That sure sounds like one. I mean, Jesus.
I mean,
Wow.
I'm not sure. We might need to go ask Mike Cernovic, but hey, I mean, it sounded a whole lot like what she said to him.
Wow, I'm reading this now. This is pretty. Wow.
Yeah, they were brutal, and all she said was basically, "Could you be a little bit less of a douchebag?"
Let's see, right, the victim blaming. Wow, holy crap. Moderate anti. Wow. Just because she didn't go. Wow. Just because she didn't go all in with their crazy shit, they drummed her out of their little. I mean, they're eating themselves. That's very shocking. I mean, this woman, it's kind of, they're trying to see who's the king dingling of their thing, and they brought in their sacred cows, it looks like, like, oh, Brianna Wu weighed in on this too. That's something.
Yeah.
Wow. I've interacted with her longer for 4 days and maybe a second. She harassed her way some. Oh, for crap! Wow, my God! I mean, I'm just reading this real quick for you so I can have a good answer for you. But man, this is shit. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay, I'm caught up now. I gotcha. All right. What do you think about it?
It sounds like something. It's like, are we in opposite world? It's like, I mean,
it's hypocrisy. It's easy to be hypocritical about something, especially when they're quote unquote passionate about something. When someone isn't quite as passionate, it's easy. It's like in the old cliche of '80s movies, like if the big bad guy, one of his subordinates goes, "We can't do this," and he kills him. And he says, "See, I killed that guy. Now you fuckers follow me." That's very similar mentality from what I'm reading here.
Right. I feel bad for this girl. I really do. I mean, she's anti-Gamergate, but I have never seen this kind of hostility, even towards Gamergate themselves. When they said something about how we should all be killed like the Jews or Holocaust or some shit like that, I was just laughing. Because this right here, man, I'm not even laughing at it. I tried to laugh, but this just isn't laughable. Is this not? I feel bad for this girl. I really do.
Oh, it's never really laughable to when someone is truly affected by social media like this. Like I've always said to people, I personally, if someone told me somebody today said I was a basement dweller on Twitter. I started chiming in about the guy that started 4chan or 420chan, how he's very virulently anti-Gamergate. I think it was the Ralph Report, I think it was one of them was talking about it, and I showed this picture, and then him and his little buddy was like, you're my slogan at the top of my Twitter is gaming culture from a different perspective, and he typed gaming culture from a different basement, and I said, hey, I'll have I have a finished basement, thank you very much. And he goes, oh, like you didn't finish your GED. It's like, I don't give a shit about that. It doesn't hurt my feelings, because I didn't get a GED. I got a high school diploma. But anyway, that's beside the point. Social media doesn't affect me. Like somebody said, like, you're a faggot, go ahead and die. You're gay and fat and whatever. But some people have different mental spectrums. I'm willing to recognize that. It could really affect you. It could affect you if someone constantly is sending you Twitters like to go kill yourself. You're like, this, if you're a lonely person and have mental problems, I can understand that. Not mental problems in that you're goofy like Claire might allegedly be. I'm not saying she's goofy, but it affected her, and it's heartbreaking. And maybe she liked going on social media. Maybe it was a release for her. And now that's gone because of these douchebags, essentially.
Well, I would have, I wouldn't have been so soft on her if she had, like, I don't know, gone on and kind of said something really shitty on in the first place. If she had said something against antis or Gamergaters, if she had said something really shitty about, like, really horrible, I wouldn't be quite so soft on her because we all know that there is we should know there is a repercussion for what we say, everything we do. But this here, all she was doing was asking for a little more civility. And when you lash back, when you say, "How dare you ask for civility?" The only thing I can come back with is a "fuck you" stare. I mean, it just does not. I don't think the English language has the capacity to enunciate what I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not. It's not adequate.
Well, you're a caring person with feelings, and you have empathy to the human race. I mean, I assume you do. I can't really speak for you, but based on what you said, I would assume you would. Because I mean, you wouldn't. If someone had a disagreement with you, I don't think you would go to the well of, well, fuck you, I'm putting you on my personal block list or some shit like that. And hey, look at this person. Let's start fucking with them because they have a opinion of mine that is divergent from mine. I mean, it's some people are just, this woman is clearly imbalanced and crazy. She has a little bit of power on this social media thing with anti-Gamergate, and she's wielding it. It's classic.
Right. I mean, like, I love shit posting, but this is something that I would never do. It's just, God.
Yeah.
Total Biscuit actually had a pretty good SoundCloud up. It is in the low bar. That if I edited it right, it doesn't look like it's down there. Anyway, there's a SoundCloud. Total Biscuit did. I think most everybody knows about it. But if you don't, it's I think that was the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about the the IGDA, and what they were up to. And if you follow Total Biscuit on SoundCloud, then you can easily find it. If you don't follow Total Biscuit on SoundCloud, you really should.
I do follow him. I just haven't seen it today yet. I'll have to check that.
That's all that I had with Total Biscuit.
What were his comments about IGDA? Were they pretty good?
They were really good. It was a bit lengthy for me to have taken it in all, but it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's in the chat's going, do you have a link to her leaving or an archive? Naki, you probably need to follow Daddy Warpig, and that's at Daddy_Warpig, and you can follow the hashtag Remember Claire, and he has basically drawn out everything that's happened with her on that issue.
Remember Claire, I'll have to do that too.
Yeah, Daddy Warpig's the one that's been kind of really on this situation, so to speak, with he created the hashtag, and he's been posting on it like a lot recently, or at least since yesterday. I think he created it yesterday. It might have been the day before.
I need to start following him. I forgot to. I'll change that right now.
He's pretty awesome. I had him in a chat once, and he's a really awesome guy.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of his postings, actually. They get retweeted a lot by the Ralph King of Paul. I've seen them a lot. Yeah, he does. He's very good. Well, I'm following him now, so hopefully I can start seeing some of these awesome posts. I'm going to check more about this Remember Claire. That's really just I mean, you hate to see that. You hate to see anybody get drummed out. It's really depressing. I would ask someone if there's any way to reach her, as someone that is in Gamergate, or at least just kind of that's posted a positive thing about Gamergate, to just tell her, hey, even we may not see eye to eye on this, but we would never do anything like that to you, and that's not cool. And we just want to let you know that. You could still think about, me even approaching like this as some kind of violation, but I just want to let you know that this is not cool, and we're totally, up in arms about what they did to you.
From what I understand, she closed down at least one of the Twitter accounts. One of them was relatively new, or really new, and the other one I've not heard anything about. She was being, they were saying something about her that she was actually Gamergate. She's not even really a woman. But then Brianna Wu says, yeah, she really is a woman. She was really polite. And so I think their hatred has actually just taken them to a point of not being able to see any reason ever. It's not the fact that we are against them. It's the simple fact that we just simply disagree. How dare you disagree?
Well,
Go ahead.
it's just shocking. It's just you see that kind of behavior from just people that are mentally imbalanced. That's all I can say about that. In terms of any kind of what attention she's trying to get, she's just a bad person. That's the least praise I can give it.
Don't
Only
use
bad
the
person would
term
do that.
bad. It's sexist, okay?
Yeah, well, that's the whole notion. I mean, if anything, this discussion at GamerGate, I hope, with people that maybe have thought about feminism in a bad light, I think that if you label somebody strictly as feminist and you go by exactly, oh, this is what feminists exactly believe. I mean, that's not the case. And you could look at, base mom, Miss Summers, or Dr. Summers, I should say. She's a feminist, but she might not subscribe to these crazy ways. There's sex-positive feminists and sex-negative feminists and people like this. I mean, if it's really always kind of ironic, I always find, especially that at least the social justice warrior style feminists nowadays are very up in arms about genders and transgenders, when the third wave feminist movement really didn't consider transgenderism part of it. They thought they were actually betraying womanhood. So it's kind of, I'm glad to see that they've come around on that, but it's just kind of funny because that's a very recent development.
Yeah. Let me introduce Lauren B. She's actually one of the honey badgers.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Lauren, this is Brian Lee.
Hello, Brian. Nice to talk to you.
Nice talking to you too. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing very good. I've been listening, since the whole thing began, and I just really want to say what an amazing conversation this is. And I think a lot more people should be listening to this because it's really, you've really just taken everything down to brass tacks, and you just have been touching on every little thing, and I really wanted to get in about this whole feminist thing.
Oh, sure. I'm no authority on speaking, but I can answer anything you'd like to ask.
No. I mean, I'm not an authority on it either. But I know from experience. I'm just a very brilliant person.
That's all.
You seem to be. Yeah, but no. It's. I'm losing my train of thought right now.
Don't worry about it.
But yeah.
Talk about Honey Badger Gaming. I want to hear about it.
Oh, I haven't really spoken to those girls in a while. I have to get back in it. And, with the holiday season and everything.
She's very, you're very active with the Women Against Feminism hashtag.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how I haven't gotten, well, Janet Bloomfield, she really, she got under somebody's skin and they don't want her back. So I don't know. She's been suspended a couple of times, and I follow her, and really a lot of the same messages that she puts out there, I do the same. I mean, I mirror exactly what she's saying in the same messages on Women Against Feminism. I don't get as much backlash, maybe because, I don't have a blog, I don't have the YouTube channel, but they go after her. And I don't know why. We've basically been doing pretty much the same thing, following, each other's footsteps. I've said the same things that she's been saying, and, maybe a little bit more inflammatory ways. But I've never been blocked once. Suspended. I don't know. It's weird.
So is there a split in the Honey Badger movement, or not movement, the Honey Badger gaming scene between people that are not necessarily pro or anti-gamer? You're talking about feminism, though. So you're against this social justice warrior feminism, or all feminism in general?
Well, yeah, definitely all in general. I don't. Gamergate is not about feminism. but I entered Gamergate as a honey badger, as a woman against feminism. I've been actually a men's rights activist for probably since about July. So, I am everything that everyone should hate, but I stay alive on Twitter. And
we don't hate you. We like you.
well, thank you. I like you guys too.
Otter Jesus told me to tell you he loves you too.
Oh, well, why isn't he following me then? Love you, Otter Jesus. But anyway, yeah, no, it's the Twitter has become a place where people come. You come to express an idea, and someone else doesn't like it, and they try to shut you down. And where is the free speech in that? I mean, forget about free speech. How about just having an honest debate? How about having a conversation? You can't have a conversation with someone if you're constantly shutting the other person down.
Yeah, well, you can also not have a conversation with somebody when the premise of the argument is, well, you've just got to believe me.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Well, it's when they have it on flawed information. That's when you should never take anything, unless the information is properly, been vetted. Then you can't really sense it.
I've said this many times before. The most dangerous types of person is the person that is convinced of their own moral superiority.
Yeah.
And it's because they never stop to question themselves. They never stop to question, is this right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so glorious and so great that it could never be questioned.
Right.
Don't question my beliefs, damn you.
Yeah, that sounds a lot like Jordy Tate.
Yeah, a lot.
Hey, Jay.
Hey.
What's up? I didn't see your above message there. I just thought you were telling me to watch that video and you would hit me up later, so I was waiting until you sent that last message.
Brian, this is Jason Miller, and he is the founder, at least for as far as I know, the Not Your Shield hashtag.
Oh.
How's it going, Brian?
It's J Miller Pussy Killer.
You've done some good stuff with that hashtag. Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We've actually come a long way with the Not Your Shield hashtag.
Oh yeah, I've been following very closely along with GamerGate. And it's never been. I mean, obviously, I can't really, put a thing up. I'm not your shield because I'm a cis white male, so there's nothing I can really do about not your shield. I'm not exactly the core demographic, but I'm a definite supporter of that. And I've been very following with great interest.
That's the whole point. It doesn't matter what you are or how you were born or what quote unquote privilege was bestowed upon you. I am not your shield. Just because you're a white guy, I think there's a problem when people think that white or quote unquote white people are not a race or that they're not a person of color, because we all have color. White is still a color. And some people just refuse to see that. And I think it's ridiculous in this day and age, when we say we want to stop racism, well, let's talk about the races that people don't talk about. If you want equality, let's bring it all to the table. It's not about it's not just about women being disadvantaged. Men are disadvantaged in a lot of countries in this, on this globe too. Let's talk about equality for everyone, not just the people that own vaginas.
Yeah, I'm just trying. In terms of Not Your Shield, I didn't think I'd be the best. The only Not Your Shield things I've always been saying, like, I'm a left-leaning person saying, like, it's not all left-leaning people that are anti-Gamergate. There's plenty. It's a nice mishmash. That's kind of the Not Your Shield stuff I've been doing. I guess you're right. I should probably be more. Maybe I should do one of those. I just never. I let that to the people that I felt like the women saying, I'm speaking for all women. I let the women speak up and say, I'm not your shield. I figured that, and I was kind of secondary to that. But I see your point. I did kind of miss that point overall. I should have probably looked more closely into that. So, yeah.
I mean, what's important is that these people cannot hijack liberalism. They
Oh, yeah.
can't take liberalism and say, "Oh, well, we're gonna add our authoritarianism to it." If you're not about people being able to say how they feel, what they believe, no matter who they are, then you're not a liberal. You're an authoritarian.
Right.
Exactly. It's like when the people earlier that were, I mean, when people lump me in with Tea Partiers and whatnot, it's laughable on its face. But it's also like I said, I got tweeted earlier. Somebody said that I'm a basement dweller and I didn't get my GED yet, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's like, whatever. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I can understand where they're coming from because they're idiots. You know, those are the kind of people who need to speak out. It's like, hey, I'm a professional, you know, office jockey and I play games 30 hours a week, not your shield. I could see that as well. So yeah, it's more expensive than I actually, not that I didn't give it credit for it. I just, yeah, I should have gotten more involved with it too, and I think I might do it in the future now.
Well, one of the issues that you face when you start doing the totalitarian SJW thing is that you're actually creating more racism because you are bringing heightened awareness to slights that people would otherwise not see on their own. When you just sit back and you say, can we see just people as people? And then someone says, how dare you not, you know, address her plight as an Asian woman or someone other than you. What you're doing is you're causing awareness of the race within, and you're stepping back and not getting the issue done at hand. Or say build a giant ass wall for some fucking reason. We wanted to build the wall, but somebody else says, well, you have to have this many workers of this race and this many workers of this race. Well, this is a volunteer basis. Well, you need adequate representation. Once you go down that road, your wall will never be fucking built.
That's a very honest thing about that. That's a problem when they twist that around and they say, oh, pointing out racism is the new racism. It's a slur I see a lot of left-leaning people say. It's like, no, there's a discussion to be had about this. When you actually constantly point out, like, this person's black, this person's Jewish, this person is Puerto Rican or whatever, you are bringing attention to that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. It just gets twisted around by these quote-unquote social justice warriors and like, oh, you know, you're trying to say us pointing out racism is the real what a cis white male thing of you to say. You know, that's why I can see the appeal.
Yeah, that's why, like, I totally don't subscribe to ethnicity. You want to know my race? I'm a human. That's my race.
That is,
you know, my parents. Yeah, like, okay, so my mom is white and my dad is black, and they both are, you know, they have multiple ethnicities on both sides. So now, okay, even if you want to break it down to simplistic terms that my mom is white, my dad is black, that's how can I subscribe to one thing and deny the other? I'm not one or the other. Just because I'm quote unquote 50% black, that doesn't mean that I then have to identify as black. But you're pigeonholed into that, you know, category. Like if you're a percentage black, then the black people want to claim you. And oh no, your dad's black, then you're black. Well, what about my mom? What about her? What about that side of my family? I'm not one or the other. I am a culmination of all of it.
You're right, and what you really have to come back to is, what can you do? What is your personal contribution to the planet, or humankind, or just to whatever you're doing at the time? What's your contribution?
Right.
Stupid movie quote, but I liked it. What is a man that has not made the world better?
I thought you were going to say a miserable pile of secrets. Man, you blew it.
Oh yeah, no, I blew it. No, it was actually Kingdom of Heaven. It says, "What is a man that does not make the world better?" Yeah. And that actually applies to everybody, because every time I hear the term "man," I'm just thinking mankind, which includes women too. So.
Well, that's very sexist of you.
Yeah, whatever. I guess
Well, it's all kindergarten logic. It's kindergarten
Right.
logic. It's like we were talking about earlier. The whole thing that brought me here is the whole viral marketing. They're marketing outrage. It's people. Why aren't you feeling outraged? Is the big marketing cue, and then they say, well, here's what you could feel outraged about, and that's how the Gawker and all that kind of crap like just spirals into a big mess of shit. That's pretty much it.
Why don't they just post the ads like, need something to feel outraged about? Try this.
Right. Right.
You pissed at your boyfriend? Try this uber feminist like web column.
That's basically what it's going to come down to. I'm sorry, Mr. Power, you guys were talking about this idea of being a viral marketing thing, but I watched your video game Anthropologist, and I mean, if that's what they're going for, they're doing a really poor job at it because, I mean, I just don't see it happening. It's not going to be this crossover Calvary they expect from this mainstream. Like, the mainstream isn't just going to go out and spend $500 on PS4s and Xbox Ones for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And they're basically left with us, the people they've pissed off for the past, how many months now? 3, 4?
We're 3 months in now.
Coming on 4, yeah.
We've been pissed off for years now.
Yeah, people they pissed off for years and then directly antagonized for 4 months, went to the mainstream and told lies about them. Like, yeah, there's going to be that mainstream and Candy Crush and those types of games, but I mean, those aren't industry supporting necessarily. Those aren't Call of Duty, Shadows of Mordor, or Grand Theft Auto billion-dollar games.
Mm-hmm.
No, a lot of the games that they're proposing are fucking episodes of Full House.
Right.
Here's Call of Duty, and the moral of the story is women are oppressed.
Oh, they play the music at the queue at the end, then they have me. I might actually buy that game. God damn it.
But
you are, Jesse.
I don't want a game that actually has a moral of the story. If you want a moral of the story game, then you can fucking make it. I might buy it, I might not. But if you're going to like try to implement it into a game that I already wanted, then fuck you. I don't care who you are. Feminist, Christian, atheist, Buddhist, I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Make a goddamn game that has a good storyline.
Right.
Oh, yeah, and I mentioned before, you obviously have a lot more experience in the game development field than I do, clearly. But my thing was only a theory, and it was kind of a postscript to my video before that. I think these people, I've gone on record actually saying I don't think they'll ever really cause enough change to really just, people are. I've seen people on GamerGate say, oh, they're going to destroy gaming. They're not. They can cause a lot of damage and really piss a lot of people off and just be a thorn in the side. And with their collusion with gaming journalism, they can really make a big mess of things. But I think in the end, they're never going to change gaming culture to their win. They just can't, because it's just their way of excluding people is just not in the cards. Gamers are the most inclusive people. They just want to play games. They're never going to get their way, as much as they might try. The viral marketing will fail in the end, but they'll garner a lot of attention. I was just saying they're approaching it.
Right, yeah. I mean, they can get a lot of attention from their people, like we saw Anita did, but I mean, even that's a drop in the bucket compared to what this industry actually is, and ask a normal mainstream person what GamerGate is, and they'd have no answer for you.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's capitalism, right? It's a free market, so people are going to buy the games that they like, and try as you might, you can beat your head against a wall and want the diversity that you're claiming for, which is not really diversity. It's really, just trying to push people towards a norm that they don't necessarily want. But people are going to buy the games that they want. And listen, we're buying the games that we like. And it's not about pushing your agenda on what our hobby, on what we like to do for fun. This is a virtual reality. We don't want normalcy in a virtual reality.
Oh, yeah.
It's also a power play. At least I'm sorry, I've got a tinfoil hat on you again, but I see it as a power play. It's like it's not right now that they want to make change. It's in 10 to 15 years that they want to make change, where the people that are the younger generation that's playing games now, remembers back and say, hey, remember all those GamerGaters? Those are Republicans right now.
Yeah.
They can make that
Or
claim,
whatever.
but there are people like like me, for instance, that's just not true. And there's a wide swath. They can point to Adam Baldwin and say he started GamerGate, so clearly it's a right-wing libertarian. Look at Milo Yiannopoulos. That's clearly it's Breitbart. That just rallies their own little monkeys or minkies. I meant to say, not monkeys.
I'd say the younger gamers,
about
though,
that.
they're doing a great job of selling the right wing virally more than
Oh, precisely, yeah.
the party.
Yeah.
I would tell these people. I would tell anybody in anti-GamerGate, especially if they try to bring up, like, a lot. I know a lot of people brought up cultural Marxism. You know what the ultimate, cultural Marxism is? It's gaming, because everybody's equal in gaming. The only thing that distinguishes one from another is if you beat somebody at a game. If, everybody's equal in Mario Kart until the first guy comes in first place or wins battle mode. That's pretty much it. Every game's like that.
There's a guy in the chat, gal, whatever. Mortham, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Sorry. They won't break the culture, hopefully, but they could make it illegal prohibited.
Oh, nope, that won't happen either. I mentioned that too in another video. It's like, this is another fight that's happened before. Look at comic books. Look at pinball machines. Look at Dungeons and Dragons. This is the kind of, it's been left-wing people and right-wing people have tried to, harp in geek culture and show, these people are already ostracized for liking something that a lot of people don't like. I'm surprised they haven't gone after bronies yet, which maybe they do, I don't know. But they go after a geek culture because it's already somewhat marginalized, but gaming culture is a little different because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I don't know if Dungeons and Dragons is, it might be, but when you start harping on that, then you get a lot more attention, and people are like, wait a minute, I play games. I'm a 28 to 34-year-old male. I'm the average demographic, actually, 48% female as well. I know I'm not that person. You can't make that kind of thing. You try to prohibit something that I like, that I, as a consumer, want to purchase. That's, prohibition never works in general. Just look at any kind of prohibition. Look at drug prohibition. Look at alcohol prohibition. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, you talked about bronies, and I'm sorry, Lauren, just 1 second.
Go ahead.
You talked about bronies, and I could actually make you an SJW argument right now. A lot of bronies look at illicit material or porn material that include My Little Ponies, the female My Little Ponies, which means you are like making the connotation between an animal and a female, so you're objectifying her. That's how you're objectifying My Little Pony.
All you gotta do is throw a little badge in there, and it's it's a problem.
I didn't. I made that in 2 points.
You did.
Okay. All right, Lauren.
Yeah, no, I mean, they ever since video games were around, people have been vilifying those of us who enjoy it, and this is nothing but the new wave of hating on gamers. It's nothing new. We've seen it before, but now it's getting more vitriolic, and they are, because we have now come to the age where we're on the internet and gaming. You can game over the internet, so it's even more widespread and more interconnected. It's more of a personal thing. Because what do? I guarantee you there are more kids these days, or teenagers these days, that spend more time on the internet than they do watching TV, which I could say was probably the inverse for each one of us in this conversation right now.
Right.
It's a different world that these kids live in, and so. Again, back to the internet, it's more of a personal thing. It's more of who we are and what we love to do. So it's when you have such a huge base of people that identify as gamers, because gaming it's not just gaming over the internet. It's tabletop. It's on your phone. It's there are so many ways that people game or can qualify as a gamer. But this whole Gamergate thing really hits every single one of us. If you are being sold or, trying to be sold a game and people are, I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Spaghetti.
That's fine.
I warned them there may be spaghetti.
Yeah, spaghetti. I've been drinking.
I think we all have. It's Friday. It's good. It's after Thanksgiving too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Thanksgiving tomorrow, so yeah, I got more to look forward to.
Oh, well, happy
Don't
Thanksgiving.
you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So weird how it works that way. Yeah. Families do it different days, but I understand. Sorry, continue. Didn't mean to cut you up.
No.
What did you guys? I know you guys didn't come in quite where we were. So I'm going to ask you. You remember Claire Schulman?
Yeah, I was just actually reading up on that. I didn't hear too much about it. But so she had a Twitter account for a few months and then left because she was harassed?
No. Okay. Claire Schulman, anti-Gamergate. What she was, though, was more of a moderate anti-Gamergate. She was one actually said something about I judge people on their character, not by their movement.
Okay.
Okay, whatever. She did a stream. I think it was with Poll. I'm sure the chat's going to correct me. But she did a stream with somebody, and with that stream, she was calling for a more moderate type response from anti-Gamergate, basically saying they're overreacting and these are my words, acting like a bunch of dickweeds. Okay. So, in response, Miss Free BSOD Girl states, I'll put it in there. You knew exactly what you were doing. You made your Gamergate bed. Now get fucked in it. And I also made the remark that she realizes that this is a rape threat, right? At least according to Mike Cernovich.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Wow.
she was a nice girl. And no matter what her views, her philosophical views on Gamergate, she didn't deserve that kind of harassment from her own fucking group.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
they want ideological purity. That's why they're the greatest advertising for Gamergate to exist that can. If you don't remember, I was kind of anti-Gamergate back when it was Five Guys and Conspiracy. I made one joke and I was like, okay, everybody, settle down a bit, and they started posting all that racist crap, and that's how Not Your Shield came about. They are their own worst enemy in this.
Yeah. But one of the biggest telling things is that they hadn't said it so much recently, but they in the beginning we all knew they were talking about harassment. Gamergate's all about the harassment of women.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck are they doing right goddamn now? It does not work that way when we do it.
Well, what about Jennifer Daw? They were gonna try to
Yeah,
run her out of the business.
Well,
When someone approaches something intellectually dishonestly, then it's not too surprising they're also hypocritical as well.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah, I only found out about this tonight, so I was like looking up at it, and I was just reading it as he was like, we were discussing it, and I was like, man, this is really shitty. It's not cool. And I was telling, like, for someone like me, I'm insanely thick-skinned. It ain't gonna bother me. But for somebody that, if somebody appreciates social media as an outlet, I wouldn't want somebody to feel like they need to get off it because of something I said to them. I would feel bad about that. But clearly, these people don't. And that's what separates us from them, pretty much. We're not bad people.
Well, even the thing that separates, like me and you, is that if I feel that someone got off social media because of me, I'm sorry if all I did was debate them. That's your problem. I'm sorry. That's
like
that
I said,
is-
basic human empathy.
Yeah.
If someone like it's this weird sacred cow bullshit that these idiots have in their stupid movement, where Brianna Wu and Zoe Quinn and all those people who I'm not supposed to talk about, but I will because that's I'm not going to give them. I'll talk about it now because we're talking about amongst ourselves, but I don't give them the time of day nowadays. But those are the people they would love it nothing more than to be always about them. That they can like, oh, I'm spearheading, I'm changing gaming. Look at the woman who's challenging gamers' notions of blah 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 blah. This is all they want. That's what they want. And now we have like so many incidents where they're actually doing more damage to themselves. I agree. Let them speak. Because people that are still on the fence about that, the more that those nutnicks speak, the more it'll look good for Gamergate and not your shield.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at that blacklist they made where it ended up blocking what the president of IGDA Puerto Rico and KFC.
Isn't it over 10,000 people now?
I want to see if I'm on
always
this
is.
list. I gotta find out. That'd be cool.
Oh, I'm on this list. I'm number 1629.
I want to see if my little
Yeah.
videos are actually making an impact on their and making them all crazy. I would love that. That would give me
Seems like-
nothing more joy than to know that I'm making them mad with my just speaking. Because
I don't know my number, but I know I'm on it, and I just laughed, and I was like, I don't care. I don't want to sell things to people. I want to be as distant from them as possible. So
Yeah, yeah. I've been on so many block lists. It's funny, but yeah, no, fuck you. If you don't want to hear what I have to say or you don't like what I have to say, then that says more about you than it does about me.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to like it, but to hear it and disagree with it and think that it needs to go away, or I'm just going to block you out because I don't understand what you're saying or I don't like it, and I choose to not try to understand it, that's a big difference.
Well, there's some people in the chat talking about oh gosh, slow down, chat, slow down. Whoa, horsey. Okay. Talking about like Macintosh grew up in a right-wing household. Here's the thing. It doesn't. There was one statement that many SJWs largely seem to have grown up in very conservative Christian households.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the same damn thing they're saying about us.
Well, it shouldn't matter. I mean,
So
it shouldn't matter at all if Macintosh can claim that he has a liberal position on things, but I can tell you as someone who's left-leaning, who doesn't like necessarily being labeled as a liberal or anything in general, that's not liberal. Saying all this crazy shit that he's saying is not liberal at all. That's just stupid.
I mean, are these people like 30 though? They should be way past that. I'm just rebelling to rebel point in their lives, to be honest.
Yeah, and they don't know who to rebel with because there's so large groups.
You're always going to rebel against your parents and their mentality. I mean, look at Family Ties. Alex P. Keaton's family were hippies, so the only way he could rebel was be a Reaganite. So it's like, it's always going to be the case.
That's what I told my wife whenever I said, if we ever have kids, I said, I'm going to like totally be gothic the entire time until they're 18. This way they grow up responsible and clean and all that good shit, and then I'll be like, ha, tricked you, motherfucker.
There we go.
But as far as like you're talking about, this encompasses two things. It encompasses actual politics, which Gamergate is not, and religion, which Gamergate is not. The thing is that we've been talking about this a lot. Gamergate encompasses everybody. Anybody can be Gamergate, such as long as you have.
Well, it looks like the guy in the. Oh, sorry.
Certain ideas that would say, if you are religion A, it doesn't fucking matter because that has nothing to do with your games. It may dictate your game choices, but that has nothing to do with everybody else's game choices. I've got my beliefs, and I believe firmly that everybody has a freedom of speech and has a right to choose their own games and the right to lead their own life how they choose fit.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I think the gentleman or lady, I don't know, Edwin Boyette, that was saying social justice is like a religion. I think that's what he's kind of
No,
leaning
it
towards.
was recent. It was Satori Mask. who actually said, what I've noticed is that SJWs largely seem to have grown up in very conservative or Christian households.
Oh, I'm behind on the chat. That's why. Okay, I see.
Okay.
There we go.
The chat's a little bit behind.
It's an insult to call it a religion. It's a cult, is what it is.
Exactly. I mean, but
Yeah.
well, religion is cult, but that's beside the point. That's like getting off to other territory. But if you approach something like with sacred cows, like I was saying, with tenets that can't be unbroken, that acolytes that don't necessarily subscribe to every solid belief, like this Claire woman, unfortunately, appeared to not, then you get drummed out. It's like Mormonism, you get drummed out if you have any questions, or you're like, maybe we should tone it down. Well, what the fuck's wrong with you? You're gone.
Well, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't even her beliefs that got her kicked out. It was the tactics.
Exactly. Well, tactics or beliefs. You just like, can we tone it down? That was like the crux of it. Yes. Like she said, can we tone down the rhetoric?
It was basically we need to like not do like the Nazi comments, or the Holocaust comments, or the ISIS comments.
Mm.
Totally uncalled for. Now, I'm not going to say GamerGate is not guilty of saying some pretty rough shit.
I think Devin Faraci, with the ISIS comments, that was clearly so he could, sell his shitty website. I mean, I never heard of Badass Digest, which is a ridiculously stupid and like 1990s style name for sounding cool. And it's like, and I'm mad that I actually know about it now, and I just said it. But
Early
I think that was
1990s.
all it needs is an X in it, like a big X and a little letters after it to be fit the thing. I mean, that guy's just a tool. He's an idiot. You learn that easy very early on. Like the people, like I'm sure creating the Not Your Shield tag, you can learn early on who you don't communicate with. Not that you block them, but you just block them. Like, I'm not even gonna respond to that because that's stupid. But you have every right to say it, and you can spam me even. And if it gets to the point where you're being just, abrasive and abusive, then I can do something about it. But I'm not going to just block you because you just disagree with it. I mean, that's pretty much cut and dry.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of feminists within Gamergate that, I don't agree with their ideology, but, it's not about your ideology. It's about Gamergate. It's about, ethics and journalism. Within the industry itself, and it kills me that actually it's about ethics and journalism became a joke, because it's just true. It's truth. It is the honest truth. It's about these people, just doing the right thing. They're making all of this money off of their consumers, and they don't give a damn. They don't care what we think.
Mm-hmm. There was a guy we had talked to who actually said there's no such thing as an SJW, and there's no such thing as corruption in journalism. I think there was like 10 of us in the chat at that point, and we all had nothing to say. It's like, congratulations, Anti-Gamergate. You stumped 10 GamerGaters for over like 10 seconons.
Well, I would ask him to explain himself. I'd be like, what do you mean by that exactly? If
he had plenty of time to do it because we were totally silent.
I didn't
Jaws
know
on the floor.
was before this the term. I just knew there were these assholes. I would say ridiculous stuff, and then Gamergate happened. I was like, oh, the term is SJW for these assholes. But even before Gamergate, I knew what a SJW was in a sense.
It's basically someone who believes that their philosophy or their moral center is greater than everybody else's. So great so that they have to tell everybody else about it.
Right.
And it's like uber Christians or uber atheists or anybody else who has like a philosophy that they feel is like the greatest thing on fucking earth. Mm-hmm. That they feel they need to tell you about it and why you should believe them, and they will talk to you until you fucking believe them or say that you do.
And the important thing is they don't look objectively at it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like how do you deal with it with an SJW? Yeah, cool story, bro. Let's eat. That's how you deal with them.
They not only do they want you to listen to what they have to say, they want you to agree with them and play on the same playing field. And it's just like Brian said, and they don't look at it objectively. They can't.
This is a joke I made the other day. It was on Ask FM. Someone was like, "What's a great idea for or what's a bad idea for a first date?" And I said, "XOXO Fest." Or it might be a great idea, just depending on how you see it.
Yeah.
I would have said something along the lines of Anita Sarkeesian lecture, but yeah, that's
Close enough. Same thing.
I actually, my wife actually is at the communications department at Temple University, and she actually knows a couple of the Diagra. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but she actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always call it differently. Whatever. I've heard it both. Or what's he sounds like? I've heard it both ways. But it's and I actually she's going to be instructing a class next semester about gaming culture. I'm going to contribute to. I'm hoping to get a panel discussion with her and a couple of other people, and I'd like to get more involved in that because I think inadvertently I know this professor pretty well too. Well, not really well. I've met her a couple of times. I've discussed the issues with her, and I think she's kind of on the fence, but they've used her work as a catalyst, as a jumping off point for this insanity that is their social justice, whatever lack of a label thing that you want to put to it. And I want to pick her brain to see if she actually subscribes to this or she just became an inadvertent, like, the Buddha of their movement. Like, I'm not the God, you don't have to worship me, but they do anyway. I think it's this document. I think Sargon of Akkad actually did a really good work on that. And I think that's other stuff that we should be focused on in Gamergate, not your shield. This should really be, like, where are they getting these really cuckoo ideas and why are they trying to market it like this? I think that's what we should be focusing on as well. And I hope I can get an opportunity to do that.
I think it at the root is feminism and how it has just infected our entire lives without us not even knowing it. It's in the court systems. It's in every aspect of our lives because women are the biggest consumers. So
I feel feminism is a nebulous term like gaming though, like because that's like the I'm not saying that you're doing this necessarily, but that's like the tactics of like the people that are anti-gaming. They'll say, well, gamers are this, but gaming is a very nebulous thing. There could be gamers that do that. I mean, I know. I mean, I don't subscribe to feminism all the way, but I like some ideas of it. Are you just like a blanket, not like all the feminist thing, like, or is it a brand of feminism that's really irks you? I'm just curious because I honestly don't know. I'm not trying to attack you.
Go ahead.
Well, okay, so there's this thing about the brand of feminism, and this is what I don't like about. One of the things that I don't like about it is, every feminist that I talk to, they always say, well, I'm not like that, and I'm not like that, and that's not my brand of feminism. Well, feminism, by any other name, it sounds the same. So how many times do you have to categorize yourself? Just think about that in general. It is segregation. They segregate themselves into these little sects that they believe these things and well, I'm not like the rest of the feminists, but I'm still going to use that name, feminism, and I'm going to be behind that 100%. I'm going to wave that flag. Except for those people over there, no, that I'm not like that.
What denomination are you?
Right.
Well, I remember you mentioned something that you're a men's rights activist. Now, I don't feel I could comment on that because I don't know a whole lot about men's rights activists. I've only seen probably the worst of it, to be honest with you. I'm just curious how, like, your interpretation of feminism led you to that, or was it just it was a natural byproduct? It was the pendulum swinging in a different direction. That's why I was just curious. I was trying to pick your brain real quick. I don't mean to put you on the spot or anything like that.
Well, no, that's cool. No, I mean, I guess I was always naturally just against it. I've been working in a male-dominated industry for most of my life, but I've never, I never saw a difference. Like, they were just people. They weren't a bunch of men that were potential rapists. They were just my coworkers. And I would listen to them and hear their stories and, how they bitch about this girlfriend or that wife or ex-wife or whatever. So, I've been hearing that for a long, long time. So I guess I kind of always had for lack of a better term, a bias towards men's issues. I I never really could identify with females. A lot of them were just manipulative and materialistic, and I just never identified with that.
So guys, go
So
ahead.
yeah, so like I grew up and got older and realized how things work in life, and I just looked at the evidence from both sides, and I just don't like anything that feminists have to say, or now I'm all for equality, but I would say that I'm more for gender equality because the scales are tipped in women's favor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we want equality, then we have to focus on men's rights as well. And even more so than we're doing right now. We're not doing it at all.
We've got a question from the chat, and that is, do we think that Gamergate is actually a culture war? Let's start with Brian.
No.
Oh, yeah, I answered the chat. I think it's a culture war within gaming culture. There's, like I've been saying, I know I'm beating it like a drum, that I think gaming is the ultimate equalizer. I think it's all about how well you play the game. And there can be people that I've often said, if you want to make gaming an issue-based thing, you don't make it about feminism and stuff. You can maybe make games about depression, actually deal with it, and not a shitty Flash game that somebody from Newgrounds could have made in 2003. You can do games. There's like great developments in cognitive psychology that can be done with gaming. You can make that a major issue, and you can branch off with that. But then if you start saying, well, all these other games that don't focus on cognitive psychology are clearly against people like that have traumatic brain problems, then you look like an idiot. And that's what I think is going on with these people right now. They're saying, why doesn't every game have some kind of social bend towards my own will? Clearly, they're at fault, and just because they don't necessarily subscribe to that belief, maybe they kind of have, they lean towards it a little bit, but they're like, I can't go all the way and say that all gamers are fascists, males only. I can't really get that they get, just slammed under the bus. I mean, that's what's going on here. That's why they'll never win, because as much as they try to make it a culture war, they can't, because gaming culture just can't really be. And the only thing that can be destroyed is the actual if they just stop making games, as far as I'm concerned, or they just screw over the consumer so badly that they'll just stop playing and stop buying.
Jason.
Yeah.
Your turn, dude.
Oh, all right. You're breaking up a bit. I'd agree with what Brian said. For some of us, it is becoming a little bit more of a culture war, just because it's like, okay, for not your shield people, for people like me, it's like, okay, you guys are stepping on my feet and trying to speak for me, when that's not what I'm saying. And there's just some things out here, like maybe this is personal for me, some things I just find that are really dumb. Like, I'm just reading an article that says indigenous game designer takes stands against Custer's Revenge. It's like, okay, did anybody really defend Custer's Revenge for the Atari 2600 in the past? What, 30 years? Like, and it's like the mainstream is stepping in, and we aren't having the people here to defend gaming. People are just making these attacks, and nobody cares. Like, the journalists have dogpiled with the mainstream, so.
Okay. Lauren.
Yeah, I think it is an undercurrent or kind of like a side effect of what Gamergate was intentionally about, or originally, in response to. But I do think that it's bringing up a lot of valid points within journalism as a whole, and our media, and who is producing, producing and benefiting off of what they are selling us, and how willing we are to buy what it is they're selling. But yeah, culture war, I don't think Gamergate is a culture war. Again, I think it's just a side effect of, what's happening.
Okay.
Mhm.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't see Gamergate as a culture war at all. Namely because when you are talking about a culture war, you're talking about many different aspects. Gamergate is just not large enough to take that many aspects. It is a culture war in it has elements of a culture war, or not what I call a culture war, but a gender war.
Mhm.
The problem with the term culture war, or gender war even, is that it assumes that in order to be equal or to find any type of equality, you have to look at all of the rights versus all of the rights of the other side. You can't do that. Because if you take away one extremely important right of the other side, but benefit the other side or benefit the same side, then you will never find what is true equality. You can't trade one right for another right and say, oh, well, you've got all these others, but we've got these really important ones.
Mhm.
You can't say that. You can't do that. It does not work. The only way that it works is that you must look at each individual value and right. When you're talking about, like, say, sexual reproduction, men deserve the same sexual reproductive rights as women where applicable.
Mhm.
Basically meaning, unless we physically can't do it, we deserve the same fucking rights, as so does
Yes.
women. If a woman can decide that she does not want to be a parent, and at any given time, and I'm looking at, what's it, uh, 1, 2, 3, at least 3 different ways to stop her from becoming a parent. She can have 3 different ways. She has abortion, she has adoption, and she has baby safe. I might be missing one, but I'm not thinking of it right now.
She could be barren.
That's not a. Well, yeah,
Well,
she could do
well,
that.
I mean, she could have.
well, I
She
mean,
could physically not be able to have. You know, that's where it gets into the whole where some crazed feminists might say she's not really a woman because she can't physically bear a child. You know, that's
but
where I've
but
seen cuckoo feminists. Yeah.
But
but we're talking about an actual pregnancy. So
Oh,
barren
okay.
women are not even. Yeah,
well, you do have
but
you do have technically, in some extreme cases, you do have tubal ligation, which most doctors will not do unless you've had 3 kids already.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
um, in those cases, men deserve the same right, at least a right to say, I uh, I did not intend to be a parent.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Hmm.
But with Gamergate, as it pertains to Gamergate, we do not have that kind of we don't have that kind of a thing where we can, like, take on a full-scale gender war, culture war, whatever it is. Because if we start getting deep into it, we divide Gamergate totally into how many people are in Gamergate? 30,000? 15 to 30,000 people? You divide Gamergate into 30,000 different ways. Because if you want to
Hmm.
go down to culture, every single one of us is a culture unto ourselves. So we can't say it's a culture war. We can so much say it's maybe a gender disagreement, gender battle, whatever.
Well, I don't even
But
think it's that. I'm sorry if I could. I don't even think it's that. I think that, Gamergate is its own thing, but the different sides of the fence that people sit on, because you have to understand, a lot of people are looking at this as, Gamergate is against people like Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn and, these known feminists. And so they take feminism as the issue. So you really, if you are too blind or too, just don't care enough to really understand what Gamergate is really about, and you take the words of these people as fact, then yeah, you would think that Gamergate is about not wanting women in the industry,
right.
when that is not the case at all.
Well, another important thing is that we have to understand that Gamergate, I've said it before, is not a political battle. Gamergate is
Right.
not a political choice.
No.
Gamergate is ideological, and actually, it's actually philosophical in most standpoints. But we're going to say ideological.
I would say it's a radical notion that gamers are people too, and that journalists should be held accountable. And I think that's the crux of it.
There you go. That's a good point of it.
To play on the words of feminism, which I was kind of making a dig at.
And the biggest and the largest umbrella, if you want to use the largest umbrella that can at least try to cover all of us, we're a consumer revolt with some small elements of a cultural battle.
Yeah. Exactly. Gamergate is a consumer revolt, but I think it is bringing to the table a lot of topics that, were around but just not spoken about before this. I think it really is bringing it more mainstream. I mean, it's not a coincidence that a lot of these same feminist issues are being brought to light at the same time within Gamergate. It's not a coincidence, because the media is only talking about it because of supposed death threats that have been sent to a currently pretty popular feminist, and a couple of them. I really don't think that we would have gotten on national television with this issue if there was not a feminist involved. It is a consumer revolt, but like I said in the beginning, it has brought up this huge issue within our society that does need to be talked about. It does need to be recognized. And I think, that's where the whole not your shield thing comes in. The real thing, forget about ethnicity. The real divide is male to female. Okay, that's the one that no matter what color your skin is, everyone can, everyone has a stake in that game. You were either born this way or you were born another way. And now we're seeing more of the, the in-between, like with the gender fluid people and the transsexuals and the whole LGBTQ, whatever. They've got a million letters in there now. But, just because you were born a certain way doesn't mean that, I should be sectionalized or thought of as a bad thing, because you're not. It's not. So why is there, I don't know. I could go on forever like this. Just feminism has influenced just about everyone's lives. It's, like I said, it's in the court systems. They've broken down the traditional family values, and everyone has been touched by it. And I understand why people like to fight for it. It's you want equality, you want women to be equal, and yes, there's been some, even today, and there's some countries where it's really bad to wake up and be a woman or have a vagina, but that doesn't happen in the Western world. So for these people who live in in a society where women are the most protected group, to be crying about bullshit like a fucking t-shirt.
Yeah.
And actually get attention and acknowledgement for this. There's something wrong here. There's something wrong. But it just goes to show the I hate this word, but the corruption or the what's wrong with media in the media that we consume, because it's not just in gaming journalism. It's everywhere. It's in the news. It's in your newspaper.
Yeah.
It's manufacturing
scary.
outrage. That's how they do it. They can manufacture outrage through either taking the reason why they can manufacture it so easily, because there are instances of real misogyny in our country. It might not be to the extent of Saudi Arabia, where women are allowed to drive or get their clitorises hacked off, but it's still there.
Right.
And there are instances of racism as well, but there are also instances where racism is blown out of proportion or just interjected in a place where it doesn't belong. It's the same thing. Any way you can get outrage, and the problem with that is not just that they're just trying to gin up controversy just for the sake of ratings to sell advertising revenue. It's also they're putting legitimate cases of this on the back burner and making people skeptical of such cases in the future. And that's what really sucks about bullshit.
Right. Well, we saw that with Ferguson, okay? And that's why I didn't really get involved with the whole Ferguson trial from the beginning, because I immediately saw it as as race baiting. It's a case of a cop who shot a kid. I wasn't there to witness it, but you can't imagine that a cop is going to get indicted for that. I never saw it happening from the beginning. But the way the media spun it, they just really enraged everyone, and they did it for the ratings. Mm-hmm. They did it for the ratings. Everyone was watching what was going down in Ferguson when the decision came down. Mm-hmm. And that's why they do it.
Not me. I was watching Twitter and Supernatural at the same time.
I was multitasking. I was watching it and tweeting. So.
Yeah, I was watching the guy who was doing it on Hitbox, and he was like, "Oh God," he's walking down the street or the highway, and he said something about, "I think they heard you," and he was yelling at the cops. I was like, "Yeah, dude, great idea. Identify yourself to the cop. Like, make yourself stand out of the crowd."
Right.
As if being Caucasian wouldn't do that enough for you.
I don't get it. If you're upset about the outcome, I get that. But there's no need to go trashing the city that you live in. If you're that upset about it, that you take such pride in such, you take such a position that you're so angry about it, why would you then go and burn down the walls in your own house?
Why are you gonna stop in the highway and stop people from getting home?
Yeah.
Or going to where they're going to go?
Yeah.
They didn't do anything.
Right. Right. I don't get it. I look at it as kind of a crabs in a barrel mentality.
What did the Dollar General have to do with that decision? I mean,
right. Exactly. Listen, like I said, I understand anyone that was upset about the outcome of it, but to go and just burn shit down and break shit it solves nothing. You're not bringing this kid back. You're not indicting this officer who just got off. You're not changing anything. You're just showing the world how much of an asshole you can be when you're mad.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Precisely.
Instead of being productive and how do we change this?
Mm-hmm.
How do we go after this? It's rob the Dollar General.
Right. Well, here's how you go at here's what you do. You go to your voting. You go vote.
Yeah.
Go vote. Vote the people in that aren't going to allow this type of shit to happen.
With
I don't know.
Gamergate, we really don't have that luxury because it doesn't seem
No.
that any political party gives a damn about gaming, except for maybe libertarians, but only in the fact that, hey, it's your house, you do what you want to do.
Right. No, well, gaming is still a dirty word. You know, to be a gamer is still like a bad thing. It's got
dirty
this
to me,
stigma. You know, there is this stigma with being a gamer. You know, and it's. I think what happened is it united the nerds with the kids who thought they were cool. You know, now it's cool to be a nerd. I think we're seeing the tides change.
Yeah, a little bit, but it still sucks to be a real nerd.
Yeah.
It still takes stigmatization. That's the way it is. Unfortunately, I have to part now because I had to actually get up early in the morning.
Yeah, I was actually gonna tell you guys we probably need to shut it right down now. So, Brian, man, go ahead and plug your YouTube channel. I know that I don't think I tried to do an edit on the low bar, but I don't think I got your YouTube channel down there.
It's cool. It's a YouTube channel I created before I decided to actually do videos. It's blee427 is what the extension is. So it's youtube.com blee427, or you could just search the Game Anthropologist or Gaming Anthropologist. A lot of people call me either one. Doesn't matter. If you type in Brian, you probably won't find it because it's a lot of Brians in the world. But yeah, it was a pleasure speaking with all of you. Jason, Lauren, Darkstar. It's really great to have you on. Very lively discussion. I learned a lot and a lot to take in. I learned a little bit everything new every new conversation I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on, man.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me. Have a good night, guys.
All right.
Yeah, you too.
Good night and good gaming. Later.
Yeah.
Lauren, I talk to you pretty commonly on Twitter, but you want to go ahead and plug your stuff if anybody doesn't know what you've got out there?
Well, I have no stuff, not yet. It's all in the works, but stay tuned because it's coming. I swears. I promise. After the holiday season, I'm going to be focused heavy, and so, you know.
Okay, well, if you want to plug your Twitter, go ahead.
Oh, that's at just Lauren B. So easy to find me.
Awesome. All right, Jason, man, we didn't get to hear much from you this. You didn't say much this time around, but we all know
that's my fault.
Oh. Hey, listen, you have a great voice. I'm at JMillerWorks on Twitter, or J_Millerworks on Twitter. You can just Google Polar Roller as well. That's my game. That's my Twitter.
Okay.
Is he gone?
No, I'm just still here.
Oh.
I just do that. I just drift off in sentences. So.
You high?
It makes it sound like a question, so people think I'm saying something after.
Well, I am Darkstar, and we here at GamerGaters hope that everybody here has a great Thanksgiving and great holidays. And so this is us. This is Darkstar, and I am out.